Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Scripture You Can Relate To podcast, how to make Scripture relevant to your everyday life. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. The Scripture You Can Relate To podcast is produced every Friday by Pastor Ricky Shear. For your convenience, you can download the show notes at www.scriptureyoucanrelateto.com. Come back often, and please add this podcast to your iTunes playlist. Now, let's get on to this week's episode.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 12, Paul says, "Put on therefore as the elect of God a heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." And he lists a few other things. When my daughters were young, I remember them playing with paper dolls. They had a cardboard cutout of a woman, and then there were several cutouts of dresses and outfits. They would mix and match tops and bottoms to see what looked nice or what seems to clash. At that age, they did not have an eye for seeing that some things just didn't seem to go well with others. But as they got older, they began to develop an eye for fashion, especially when preparing for family vacations. They would lay out everything they planned to wear that week on the bed, just like the cutout dolls. Pants, tops, skirts, beach attire, one nice dinner attire. Well, in this passage, Paul speaks about spiritual growth and spiritual garments that Christians are expected to wear. He talks about what matches and what does not match. When my daughters got older, they developed such an eye for the uniqueness of people. See, one of my daughters is tall and slim, and the other one is shorter with hips. Sometimes they would tease each other, and sometimes they would compliment each other. We would be at a store, and one would examine a garment, and my other daughter would say, "Oh, sweetie, you have to have hips to wear that." Or one would pick up a garment and the other daughter would say, "Honey, your big behind is not made for that." Or your shoulders are this, or your neck is this, your elbows, your knees. And they would tease each other for what the other one does not have. But yet on Christmas, they would totally compliment each other for what they have. One would say, "I saw this outfit at the store and I really wanted it for myself, but I thought it would look cuter on you." Or they would say, "I picked up this garment, but it was made for you and not me." Sometimes they would say, "I got you one, but I got me one too." Sometimes we would be walking out and my daughter would say, "Oh my God, Daddy, will somebody tell that lady that not everybody can wear that?" They would say, "Tell that lady not everybody can wear red, not everybody can wear pink, not everybody can wear hot blue, not everybody can wear stripes, plaid, this or that." They would recognize that all women are beautiful, but recognize that certain things will highlight a person's beauty better than others. And the whole point of the message is that in life, just like cutout dolls, there are some spiritual garments we can mix and match for our work in the ministry and service to humanity. There are some garments which are considered ungodly and never should be worn. And there are some spiritual garments that look good on all of us. In other words, it is a one-size-fits-all. God has made some custom-made garments, hand-picked clothes for his hand-picked servants. In fact, Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10 says we are his workmanship. Well, after describing the garments to wear, Paul describes the attitude, or as young folks would say, the swag in which we are to wear them. In Colossians chapter 3 verses 15 through 18, Paul says, "Let the forgiveness of Christ always remind you. Let the peace of Christ rule in you. Let the words of Christ remain in you, and always let the name of Christ radiate from you." Well, that concludes this podcast. Our hope and prayer is that this podcast has been helpful to you and you will continue to reflect on it and begin to apply it to your life. For a transcript of this podcast and notes for a journal, visit www.scriptureyoucanrelate2.com. Thank you.